So this book feels like the most opportune moment to talk about your superpower.
We're going to open with it.
We're going to open with that thing because it affected how you liked this book so much.
Okay. You and I have already talked about this.
Yeah.
So should I just explain it the way I explained it to Brooke yesterday?
Yeah. I could explain it too.
Okay.
You
I
can smell
don't
people.
want you to explain it because you explain it terribly.
I get
every
everybody
time.
riled up though, and then they agree with me.
Yeah. You always get everybody riled up about me and they always agree with you. And I'm always the bad guy.
I get there first.
Because I am not as evil as you. My brain isn't 16 steps ahead trying to get everybody against somebody.
Yeah.
I would never do that to you. So I just want you to remember that.
You did tell a guy yesterday though that he has gray hair and he should dye it.
I did do that.
You did do that.
The thing is I was being nice.
And to
Maybe
be
he
fair,
didn't know.
Did he need to know?
I also told him that he was handsome.
As an afterthought. She did on another occasion tell a different man that he needed a haircut.
He did need a haircut, and he went and got a haircut the next day. So
in your
they are welcome.
You are only terrorizing men, which I'm all for.
Yes, that's very true.
I'm okay with it.
Immediately walked out of that office and walked over to Brooke and said, "Isn't Brooke's hair so pretty?"
Yeah.
I just think that women need to be built up and men need to be told that they are subpar.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I don't have any shame. I told our manager today that his shirt was dirty and I don't know why he keeps wearing it.
I heard you say that.
He has a stain. It's like a permanent stain right here.
And you were like, "Don't you wash your shirt?"
Yeah.
I've had stains that you can't get out, and if it's one of your favorite things, I don't know that I'd wear it again, but
Yeah.
he made that decision.
Yeah.
He looked in the mirror, his wife let him out of the house. Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
I'm wrong and I'm
but you have a
sorry.
superpower, so
Yeah. Okay. So the way that this works is the best thing that I can compare it to would be synesthesia, which is where when people hear music, they see colors or sometimes vice versa. And there are other variations of it where people will see colors will be associated with specific letters or numbers. But for me, very unfortunately, my thing is smell. So when I look at something or I picture something, I can smell it, but not don't look at me. Peggle, don't look at me. But not oh, I know what it smells like. It's I can smell it. I'm sitting next to it.
and they have a distinct smell.
And it's very distinct, yes. And for whatever reason, the most common way that presents itself is for people. So I have a list of stinky celebrities that
Including Katy
smell.
Perry.
Including Katy Perry,
Mark Wahlberg, Haley Steinfeld.
Those are some of the stinkiest.
She's literally gagging.
Mark Wahlberg smells so bad. I can't even handle it. It is.
But people say he smells delicious.
He looks like a clean guy, he showers and
Mark Wahlberg can fucking get it. I would get that. And then I would tell you how delicious he smells.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We should have been videotaping this.
It smells so bad.
Your reactions.
It's awful. So the long and the short of it is that, yeah, originally, for whatever reason, I had pictured Rose in my mind as a little old circus lady. I know that she's not. I know that she's young and that she's beautiful. But she is just like Sibby in Haunting Adeline. She is a little weathered circus lady doing tarot.
Ridiculous.
Right? And so while I was reading this book, obviously she got younger and younger and younger, the deeper that we got into the book. And the younger she got, the stinkier she got.
It's so weird.
And I just think her and Fionn smell so bad. And I just don't like either of them.
And they even talk about her bathing.
I know he talks about how she smells good or he likes the way that she smells.
So Amanda because of that hated this book.
That is
For
not the
reference,
only reason that I hated it. We'll get
we
into it.
we started this book in February when it first came out. I read it immediately.
Yeah.
Amanda finished it this weekend.
Yeah.
4 months.
And I couldn't read anything else because I had so much guilt about not finishing this book. So I have basically read nothing since
Which depressed
February,
you.
which I was so depressed.
Yeah,
We couldn't even
and
record.
even though I told you, like, once a week that it was okay,
Yeah.
and you didn't have to feel guilty, you
Yeah.
still did.
Shoot.
Shoot.
Well, I finished it now.
Yeah,
The second half of it is excellent.
yeah.
I would rate the second half different than I would rate the first half. Is that an option in our rating scale?
There is not, but
Shoot.
that's something we could talk about.
Okay.
Should we just jump right into it then?
Yeah. Should we?
Let's do it. I'm so excited.
All right.
It's been so long.
Whether you're a new listener or a returning one, we want to quickly thank you for being here with us and for listening to and supporting our smutty little podcast. We're so excited to pick up where we left off, but before we do, we have to make an announcement. While on hiatus, Nicole and I talked a lot about the future of the podcast and kind of what direction we wanted it to go and kind of the sustainability of it. And I think we, in our conversations, really continuously came back to the core and the origins of who we are and why we started recording our conversations to begin with. Because the conversations that Nicole and I record for the podcast are the conversations that we are having in real life, in real time. And we have been reading these types of books for years and didn't start really talking about them to the degree that we do now until we started talking to each other. And honestly, our conversations really kind of spun themselves into their own entity. We ended up starting a book club with women who we love and adore, and our community of friends really started to expand. And I think that in looking at that and looking at how eclectic the readers of these books are, I think it really put into perspective for us like what we love about having the conversations and also what we wanted to accomplish when starting the podcast. And what it really comes down to is that we want to normalize having these conversations. We want to normalize talking about these materials. We want to normalize disagreeing about the materials because, in as much as it is okay to like something and be passionate about something that is taboo, it's also okay to disagree on the things that you like. We as women don't need any additional pressure to try things that we are not 100% excited about. And when we do our podcast, we want our listeners to feel very much as if you are part of the conversation with us and you are entitled to disagree with us. And we want to make that as accessible as possible. And so, as we sort of considered this very eclectic group of listeners, we have listeners from all over the world. We kind of came to the conclusion that although Book Sluts is who we are, and we have absolutely no shame about that, we also respect that a name like that could be a barrier to entry for some listeners. We considered where people may be listening in their cars with smart screens or maybe at work with a preview on their phone. And we considered how it may feel telling a new friend about the podcast that you listen to. And again, we picked that name with our full chest, and we will always identify as book sluts. But taking all of that into consideration, we have decided to update our name. Nothing else about us is changing. We realize that we're not going to make everybody happy with the change, but we hope that you can come along with us and continue to be wonderful, loyal friends and listeners throughout the rebrand. Choosing Book Sluts was a very humbling experience for us because we truly thought that that was an original name. Like we went into it, we were like, oh my God, we're so cheeky and cute. And after getting started, we realized like, wow, there's a lot of other book sluts. And we, also don't want to be encroaching on anyone else's brandings. And I think with the name change, it'll also make us easier for new listeners to find. So, with that, the long awaited moment has come. I'm Amanda,
I'm Nicole.
and we're Plot Tarts. We read, recap, and review smutty books. Let us help you decide if this book should stay on your TBR. What are we reading today?
We are reading Scythe Sparrow by Brynn Weaver.
There are other reasons that I didn't like it.
We'll
So,
get there.
yeah. Content and trigger warnings. Eyeballs, again. Also, eyelids. I'm not sure as I really ruin cotton candy as much as maybe just defile it. Possibly sausages and or hot dogs. Ill-advised use of staple guns. Are drug-addicted raccoons a trigger? Debate. Clowns, sexy clowns, medical trauma, including serious injury, ambulances, open fractures, puncture wounds, blood loss, hospital surgical recovery, impaling, not the sexy kind, but that too. References to domestic physical abuse not depicted, injured dog, but if you've read Leather and Lark, you already know Bentley will be fine. Parental neglect, child abuse, not depicted, numerous weapons and sharp objects, detailed sex scenes, which include but are not limited to adult toys, primal kink, cum kink, anal, rough sex, sexual acts in public, explicit and colorful language, including a lot of blasphemy. There is a lot of injury and death. It's a book about a doctor and a serial killer falling in love, so I feel like that's probably a given. And the dedication in this book is a continuation of the previous two dedications. For those of you who read B&B and Ellen Hell and said, hell, I've already endured the ice cream and pizza, I might as well keep going. You truly are my people. This one's for you.
The trigger warnings are they're too much.
In this book, they are.
Yeah.
They are way too much. This book was as fucking vanilla as it comes, in my opinion.
Eyeballs I will give her because I even had to skip some of that.
I don't actually even remember the eyeballs. So,
Oh my God. All right.
shoot.
And you
Tell me about them?
sure.
All right.
But
Awesome.
to start off, I have a quote.
Oh my God.
It's the first sentence in this book.
Oh.
And it hooked me right away. So I don't even get how you didn't like it.
Okay. What is it? I don't remember it. So forgettable.
So it's Rose.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit someone in the back of the head hard enough, you can pop their eyeballs right out of their head. How are you not into it?
Because
I was already just like, done.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
Well,
start your weekend.
oh my God.
Amanda
How?
didn't finish her notes, so she's doing the first half, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna do the second half.
It's so good to be back, isn't it?
Really is.
Yeah.
We've barely talked about this book because we've been
No, I
waiting.
know.
I have had no one to
Oh,
talk about this
no.
book since I finished it the second week of February.
What about Brooke?
Well, but we agree.
Oh, so you wanted to fight your point of view. Okay.
Brooke loves this book too.
You wanna politic about it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
I'm ready. Have all the notes.
All right. Well, we open with Rose. She is a part of the Silveria Circus, and one of her acts at the circus is a tarot card tent. She is giving a tarot card reading to a woman whose husband stands in the corner and watches. Rose is excellent at reading people, and with the well-used and tagged deck, is able to read the customer and pull cards that she feels are most appropriate for them. In this case, she's pulling cards that encourage the woman to find her wings and flee her husband. It is a well-used card, implying that she uses this card often. And at the end of the reading, the woman pays and her husband comes over and steals the money back from Rose. And she decides here that this man, Matt is his name, will be her next victim.
Well, and she could tell already with Lucy sitting there cowering from her just piece of shit husband.
Yeah.
When
Even
he
were
Yes, the kids they came in to like want to go on rides and she's like, "Oh, just a second." That he like bats him out.
Yeah. Well,
And then taking the tree back.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
Yeah. He
Oh.
kind of antagonizes Rose first and then takes the money.
Yeah.
So
I literally just wrote that he says some stupid shit. It was
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. She finds out where he lives, confronts him outside of his house wearing her motorcycle helmet, and attempts to use a metal bat on him. But he wrangles the bat away from her and uses it on her leg. Falling to the ground, her backpack breaks open, and the cocktail sticks that she had purchased to bring back for one of the circus folks fall out. She grabs a handful of 3 and uses them to stab the man in the eye, before she flees.
It's graphic. Just to, like, give some context too, Rose does murder men. We find that out. She doesn't usually get up close and personal. This is her first, like, attempted killing, actually, like, with a man there,
Yeah.
and she doesn't do so hot.
And that was the beginning of the end for me.
My God.
I am not interested in you fucking it up. You're murdering somebody. She doesn't even bring a fucking weapon.
Yeah, that was
She, like, finds a metal bat in their yard. What were you gonna do? She literally is like, parks her motorcycle at the end of their long-ass
yeah.
driveway and then just starts wandering up the driveway
Yeah, just walk up.
in the open, middle of the day, and it's like, "Oh, this bat. I'm gonna use this bat." No
She's an
fucking plan.
opportunist.
Literally just, like, the whole thing, maybe this is just, like, me being disappointed and, like, not being able to get over it, because in the first 2 books, I interpreted Rose as super strong, competent, capable. She's not.
That doesn't make her
This is
she
only
may
one.
not be
We haven't even gotten to the other ones yet. Which one of these murders does she execute successfully?
she
Name
is
one.
still competent, she just may not be capable.
She's
She's not a serial killer. Well, okay, but women poison. That's what women statistically, women poison.
okay.
Like, Lark and Sloane they're not the statistics. Rose she poisons men, spoiler
Yeah,
alert. And this one, it was like a spur of the moment thing. I don't know that she went there to kill him.
I'm not in for it. Yeah.
If I was
I
going
think at one
to
point she says to Fionn, "In for a penny, in for a pound." I'm
Yeah,
not in for a penny, babe. I'm not interested in learning about you fucking up murders.
but if you were going to be a murderer, you would be like Lark.
I would be like Lark.
I
Yeah,
would be like Rose.
yeah. The thing is that you would be Rose and fucking Peggle would be Fionn, having to come to the site to clean up the fucking mess after you fuck it up.
Yeah,
Would you not?
you definitely would.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would poison. I
See, I think the thing that I really liked about Lark and Sloane is that we really don't get them catching their killers for the most part.
Right.
They have their victims in their sights, they execute their murder flawlessly, and there's no risk of them being caught. And this book, the entire book is basically about her fumbling every single one of the murders and then them worrying about being caught. And I hate it. I'm just not for it. It's just not for me. So now we've got that out there. We should have saved that for the end. Do you want to give a physical description of Rose?
Yes. Rose is 26. She has dark brown eyes, an angelic face, chocolate brown wavy hair that's past her shoulders, and she has cute little bangs. I don't
Fringe, he
Yeah,
calls them.
fringe. Well,
So
yes,
cute.
he's Irish.
Yeah.
I don't see her with wavy hair. I see it being more straight. Like, when I picture her, she has long black hair with big bangs. That's just me picturing her. That's not how she's described.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
See, I guess I don't have any input on that at all because I was picturing her as a little old lady.
Oh
So
my God. So does it matter how authors describe main characters? You and I will picture them however we want to.
pretty much. That's why I just really don't get into the descriptions. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, meh. A little general idea is probably good. And then
But
good dialogue for the rest of the book.
if they're not tall, just don't say their height. I'm not going to read
Yeah.
about if Fionn was 5'6".
You wouldn't read about him.
No.
Would you read about him and pretend that he wasn't 5'6", or would you just
Yes.
not read about him?
I think as long as there weren't multiple references to his height, I think I could
Sure.
get past it.
Like how he had to get on his tiptoes to kiss
Yes.
his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or like needed help to reach something on the top shelf. Yeah, as long as it didn't like constantly reference it.
Sure. I don't have a problem with short kings. I love a short king, so and a short queen for that matter. All right. Well, now we meet Fionn. He is returning home from a run when the security system for the clinic that he works at as a doctor alerts him to an intruder. He heads into the clinic to discover Rose, who has broken in and is lying bloody on the floor in one of the exam rooms, and her leg has been broken and the bone is sticking out of her leg. Just before she passes out, she says one word, help, and this sticks with Fionn long after this encounter. I do feel like I need to add here that Fionn gets this alert and then he goes, ah, fucking Barbara.
Yeah.
And I thought that Barbara was his secretary. Like, I had no idea what was going
We
on.
don't know yet who Barbara is.
Yeah, so I
That's
just feel
funny.
like I need to include that in there because she comes up later.
I did write that. I also have a note here. Do you wanna fight again?
Yeah, a little bit. Let's do it.
My note here is that everything Fionn is doing is a man being sweet, not whatever the fuck Lachlan did when he saved Lark.
Mm.
Because he literally, like Fionn says, he can smell the pineapple on her and he says, "Have you been drinking?" And she says, "Fuck no."
Mhm.
When Lachlan interrogates Lark and is
Mhm.
like, thinking she's drunk, and
Mhm.
he's just being an asshole.
Mhm.
But you were like, "Oh, it's intimate." And it wasn't. This
Sure.
man being sweet.
This is giving detached doctor,
Mhm.
going through the motions.
Always.
I really have a hard time understanding how you're thinking this is sweet when he literally does nothing. And this is not, I have a note about it later. It's not like he's talking to Rose. He's always talking around Rose or through Rose. He's very rarely actually talking to Rose. He says at one point in time that they don't do anything, they don't speak to each other, and he just stands outside of her room, wishing that he could go into her room. He says it multiple times about how they just exist around each other, and he's just
Well, yeah.
creepily standing in the corner staring at her while she reads her tarot and makes waffles with bacon, and it's like, "Sir, could you fucking say something to her? Talk to her. Engage with her in any way, shape, or form."
You know what I like, maybe?
Yeah.
I like them fawning over me. Even though Dave will tell you when he looks at me, because 'cause he'll just sit there and stare at me, and I always yell at him,
Yeah.
"Don't fucking look at me.
Yeah.
Love me looking that
Love
way."
me, but leave me alone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I love it when Fionn does it. And it is funny
Yeah.
how 2 people can interpret a book and small gestures so differently.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I guess my experience with Fionn just really through the most of the first half of the book, is that he is very, like, "I'm a doctor, and she's my patient, and I'm not gonna cross over that line," and it all is just giving very detached, and I just don't
Hmm,
like and I yeah, okay, physical
disagree.
description, yeah,
Physical description of Fionn. He's described as being super attractive, brown hair swept into place, sapphire blue eyes, athletic build, ripped, and he's 6'4".
okay, did you watch Schitt's Creek? I know you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alexis's boyfriend, the vet,
Yeah.
that's how I imagine Fionn.
That description is not at all.
That's exactly how I imagine Fionn.
No.
Derpy, pretty boy, like, preppy and just not for me.
No.
Peggle?
Disagree. Moving on.
Alright. Is this gonna be a good episode or not? Should we stop recording now?
We'll see.
Alright, well, Rose is hospitalized, and she has to have surgery on her leg. Jose Silveria, the ringmaster of the circus, has stopped by the hospital to let Rose know that he and the circus have to move on. She can catch up with them when she has recovered and healed. Her RV has been set up at a local campground. While recovering, she is approached by a nurse who recognizes her from the circus and asks for a reading. And here, Rose realizes that she is also in need of a push from the nest with her special card. Fionn has recovered Rose's motorcycle from outside the clinic, and the day she is released from the hospital, he shows up at her RV to drop it off, only to discover that Rose cannot easily maneuver with her crutches in the tight space of the RV, and without even realizing what he's done, offers Rose a room at his house.
Okay. You skipped over her super funny description of the trailer park.
The creepy children?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was funny.
Okay.
Rose spends, like, a chapter talking about these creepy
Mhm.
children of the corn. I may
Wait.
not have even written it down.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I did.
Shoot.
All I wrote is the campground is creepy and there are creepy children, so
Okay.
my
Well,
description wasn't great either.
shoot. Is it okay if I move on,
Move
or
on.
should we pull that up and read a
I
quote?
thought it was funny.
Okay.
Anyway,
She accepts his offer, and he takes her home back to his place.
what did you think of that? You're not in.
I'm not like, the way that Rose is written to me is so young and so old at the same time. It's very hard to describe.
I will agree with
Her
that. I get that.
inner thoughts are young, but the words that come out of her mouth are that of an old soul.
Hmm.
She presents to the world as if she is super well traveled, but in her mind, she is an insecure mess all of the time.
She is. She is more insecure than Lark, but Sloane was super insecure.
I think that Rose is more insecure than
Interesting.
Sloane for sure. And I realize that
Mm,
like this author likes to write complex women.
yeah.
I have known women like Rose who are very super confident that they're doing the right thing and they never are.
I feel
Do
like
you know what I mean?
removing these men from the earth is the right thing.
Well, yeah, except that she can't do
She's
it
helping other
successfully.
women.
Okay, she should have stuck with poisoning.
I agree with that.
Thank
But, like,
you.
Sloane and Lark were doing serial killers or pedophiles, whereas
This is
Rose is
something.
helping women out of bad situations.
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate Rose doing what she's doing. I'm not saying that, like, I don't think that she should be doing any of these things. I'm saying I just think that Rose approaches everything from this, like,
She doesn't have a plan. She just goes with it and does whatever
yeah,
comes.
and that's not for me.
Mm.
I need a
That's
plan.
also yeah.
It's fine if you don't have it all under control. It's fine if you don't have a plan, but don't run headfirst into fucking everything like you do. Just admit you don't have a plan
She calls for help, though, which
after she botches it.
well, yeah, she tries to do it herself first.
Oh,
That's something I would do.
yeah.
Well,
Shoot.
again, if I was going to be a murderer, it would be like Rose, and I would be murdering bad men.
Again, I have to go back to like, you don't know this man. You literally do not know
Oh,
this
well, yeah.
man.
I don't think I'd do that.
And he's like, "Do you wanna come live with me?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't got anything else to do, I guess." So
No,
and I don't like
that's not how it
I
happened.
really it absolutely gives me the ick when she calls him Doc.
Interesting.
I don't know. The whole thing, it's just
Okay.
yeah.
So she didn't just go with him willy-nilly. Literally, she turns him down, and then he's like, "I know about Cranwell." And she's like, "What do you mean?" Like and he's like,
Mhm.
"It's not safe for you here." And he's like, Cranwell's business is right across the street, right?"
Mhm.
And she's like, "Well, fuck.
Mhm.
This is a
And
bad idea."
yeah, and I have just as many big thoughts about Fionn as well.
Well,
Because
yes.
he that is you're so fucking annoying because in his mind, he's like, "What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I need to stay away." And he's like, "But don't you know that he's right across the street? You don't your
Have
life
to
is
live
in
with me.
danger." And it's like, "Why don't you just shut up and go home?" Like,
Also, I
God,
think it's a mobile trailer, so she could have driven it away.
honest to God. Like,
Well, I guess she couldn't because she had a broken leg.
I'm just gonna say that it makes sense that Fionn is the youngest.
I will agree with that.
So,
He is a lot of people love this book. He is a lot of people's favorite.
okay, well, I'm sorry to all those people because 'cause they're gonna hate me as we go through this.
They really
It
are.
doesn't get any better,
Yeah.
so the night that Fionn found Rose in his clinic, he went through her pockets to find her ID and found the ID of Matt, which Rose had solicited one of the circus kids to pickpocket from him in order to learn where he lived. And while checking on Rose at the hospital, he learned from another doctor that Matt had been in with a stab injury to his eye. Putting things together, once he gets Rose back to his place, he starts pressing her for information about how her injury really happened because she had told him that she was in a motorcycle accident. She admits what really happened and makes to leave so as not to bring Fionn any trouble. Ugh, gag me.
Well, and he does
And
in his head be like, "I should let her go."
yeah, so dumb.
I
He's
know.
so annoying. He's like, Rose is danger incarnate. And it's like, why don't you just, God, oh my God, go find somebody to have sex with because you are a mess.
Yes, they both need to get laid.
100%.
Yes.
If these two, this is, let me tell you, this is a PSA to the world. This is what happens when you don't have sex regularly. Is
Yeah.
this story is exactly what happens because these two people fall in madly in love with each other and they don't say more than 3 sentences to each other for like 6 months. So everybody go have sex immediately.
Some men are quieter. Strangely, a lot of the guys I've dated, even including Dave, I get a lot of quiet ones.
I
Where
get
and I'm like, the 3 words is not that bad.
I don't think that I get quiet ones. I think that they become quiet because there's no room for them to speak.
See that. I think everybody listening could see that.
Now everybody understands why I wear the black.
Yes. And it's so perfect today because 'cause I'm wearing white and you're wearing black.
You know, I'm actually wearing blue today, which is a little bit of a deviation from
Here.
my, yeah. Peggle is blown away. Anyways, Fionn convinces her to stay and convinces her that his place is the safest place for Matt, which she agrees to. A little time goes by. Fionn solicits Lachlan for information on the man that Rose tried to take out, and he helps care for her and her leg injury while she waits for the cast. And in this chapter, we start to see them bond a little bit. To me, it felt really superficial. My sentence here is, I can't tell for the life of me what either of them like about one another, other than that they feel a little less lonely when the other one is there.
Maybe.
Okay, well,
Did we already get to the part where Fionn goes to Cranwell's? Or did you skip that?
I skipped it, but if you want to talk about it.
Well, no, I thought you'd have a lot to say about that.
About him going to Cranwell's and almost murdering him with his son in the barn with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Okay. Just a blip. Well, he does that, but he doesn't kill him, and
He doesn't kill him.
then he comes to his senses. I was like, is he having, like, an episode?
This is where we, like, start to get the, like, the Fionn. Like, Fionn is this, like, dark. He's like got this dark entity living
Yeah.
inside of him that he's like trying to hold back and be the good boy that he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, your brothers kill people for a living. That's a self-imposed purgatory. Like, just honestly, go fuck somebody, go kill somebody. You'll feel so much better. Rose goes with Fionn to the hospital and she gets her cast put on. And while she waits for Fionn to finish his shift, she decides to wander around the town and ends up in a gun shop, overhearing a phone conversation between the nurse, Naomi, whose tarot she had read, and her boyfriend, Eric. And Rose overhears Eric having a phone conversation with Naomi where he's being very abusive and rude and decides that she's going to murder him. She decides it's right there in the gun shop.
Well, Naomi had already asked for help. And
Yeah.
also, I'm sorry, but fuck Eric.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, he's yelling at his girlfriend on the phone.
You could, like, hear her on the other line.
And then he proceeds to hit on Rose.
Yeah. He's the worst.
I'm glad that she does kill him. I think that's why Brynn Weaver got me with this one, because it's just, I hate men.
Mm-hmm.
I would have decided right then, too.
Yeah. Well, it's par for the course because she has no idea what the plan is. She decides that she's going to hide in the back of his
her leg is in, like, a full leg cast.
Are you trying to fight this? Like,
no, I'm saying this was dumb.
Yeah, thank you.
This was dumb. I would have poisoned this one.
She has to put her crutches in the back of his truck before she gets in there and hides in the back of it.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't turn off her phone.
That was dumb. If you're going to murder, at least be silent.
What are you doing?
That's true.
She gets in the back of his truck. She hides underneath some blankets. He gets into the truck, cracks a beer, because we are in the middle of Trump country, and drives his truck out into the middle of a field. And Fionn, his shift ends, and he decides he's going to call Rose because he's got to bring her home. And her fucking phone goes off. And Eric in the front seat is like, what the fuck? And Rose, full circus person, jumps out from under the blanket and goes, ta-da! And then stabs him promptly in the neck while he's still driving and operating.
How did you not love this?
What?
As you're saying that, I'm like, oh, yes, girl. This is great.
You appreciate the chaos of it.
Yes.
Clearly. I don't. It's so messy. There's so many fingerprints. Your DNA is all over fucking everything. This is so poorly planned and executed. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Don't call me. I'm telling you right now, if you pull some shit like this, do not call me because I will at you.
I would call Peggle and Melissa.
You would bring Melissa into that? That feels like a bad decision. Melissa? You think that Melissa is going to help you get rid of that body, or she's going to make it worse? Melissa would be the one who staples his eyelids open. That's what it would be. She would just add to the crime.
Yeah.
Peggle would be out of her mind. Like, what are you idiots doing? I'm trying to clean up the crime scene.
Yeah.
And
Melissa would be drinking the beer, stapling his eyes. Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Well, Peggle, I'm Darshan.
Yeah.
I would call Peggle to clean this up for me, just like Rose calls Fionn.
Yeah. So she stabs him. He is still driving this motor vehicle. He obviously loses control of the vehicle. It basically careens off of the road through a field.
Towards a cliff
where it is now dangling on the cliff edge with a giant river underneath it. Yeah. Right? And so Rose is like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to call Doc.
Yeah.
She calls up Fionn. Fionn comes out there and is like, Fionn is me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I should like him more for his reaction here because Fionn is me. Fionn is like, what the fuck were you thinking? What was the plan? I think he even asks her, like,
Yeah.
what was the plan?
Mhm.
You know, and I think he wins some points with me for that, and I'm not going to be as mean to him,
I doubt it.
but but he does. He helps her clean up the mess. I can't remember why she staples his eyelids open. Do you
So,
remember?
yeah, Fiona's like, we need to get in his phone to see if anybody knew where he was headed, because 'cause they're
Mm.
gonna try to make it seem because
Oh, yes,
he's actually going hunting, but he, like,
that's right.
wasn't hunting season, so he's pretending to go fishing.
Sure.
His, like
Okay. So they needed to staple his eyelids open so that they could
get in
open
his
up his
phone.
phone. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny
Thank
because
God he
then
had a staple gun.
yeah, because then Fionn and Rose push the truck over the edge of the cliff with him in it, and then Rose is like, "Well," wipes her hands clean, is like, "Well, that takes care of that," and Fionn's like, "Well, let's hope that they don't notice that his eyelids are stapled open." Like,
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, they'll just think that he was drunk and he went off the cliff, and
yeah, and Fionn is like,
they'll he'll be decomposed by then."
Yeah, fingers
I
crossed."
do love, though, that Fionn helps her and isn't, like, scared away.
Yeah, I guess I really, like, wasn't surprised by that. I mean, given who his brothers are, I don't know.
But
I think that he knew by this point, had put together that she was
given who his brothers are,
hmm,
you would think he may wanna stay away from crazy. He also does when he asks her what happened, she was like, "I definitely started it."
yeah. I don't think that Rose is crazy. I wouldn't describe Rose that way. I think she is, for all of her chaos, is pretty grounded for the most part as a person. I just think that she doesn't plan. Like, I just think that she just is short-sighted, that's all. Anyways, moving forward, Theon begins to avoid Rose. But is for some reason totally and completely in love with her, even though he never talks to her. There's that line. I put it right there.
Mhm.
He goes to check on her one day and discovers that she's not home, and
It's like 6 in the morning.
mhm. He decides that he's gonna go through her room, where he starts to find clues that allude to her history of murdering abusive men.
Yeah,
So she's growing like Nightshade and
yeah, and he finds a letter
yeah,
from a woman
a postcard. Yeah.
thanking her.
Yeah. He heads to his weekly crochet meeting and he discovers that Rose has crashed it and is making friends with the women that he crochets with, who he refers to as the Suture sisters.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with this.
They mercilessly tease him
Yeah.
and make like sexual
Well,
innuendos.
Rose literally tells them, they're like, "Oh, what you making, Rose?" She's like, "A sex swing." They're like, "Oh, you're gonna need some sturdier rope for that, some string." And the other one is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my husband could make you a platform."
Mhm.
And then she's like, "Well, I need to make sure it would hold. What do you think? Like a 6'4" man or however big he is?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, theoretically."
It does make sense to me. I'm gonna give it to Brynn Weaver because she's an excellent writer. It makes sense to me that Fionn would end up with somebody who likes to give him a hard time the same way that Lachlan does.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the primary way that somebody has shown him that he loves him his whole life, and it makes sense that
I
Rose
agree.
doing that is the thing that, like, seals the deal for him.
I agree with
So,
that.
she really thought that out when she wrote that. So,
Yeah.
they end their night, they go home, and on their way home, Rose basically just, like, point blank asks him without any other context, just, "Tell me about the girl."
She read his tarot cards on the first night,
Yeah.
and even though he didn't want them read, and
Mhm.
she's like, "There's a girl. You're here because of a girl."
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah, but he hasn't told her that, she just knows
no.
it. She just
Yes. Yep.
which again, I have to go back to, the things that she says out loud are giving Old Soul. Like,
Yeah.
for her to be able to identify that, in her mind, she's like, "Oh my god, does he like me? Oh my god, he
Yeah.
doesn't like me. I'm just so simple and plain."
Oh my god.
Alright. We get a small interlude here where Fionn and Rose's reality show is interrupted by an opiate-addicted raccoon named Barbara, who breaks into the clinic, and they have to go and get her out. And while there, Matt makes a surprise visit, and Fionn fields his inquiries about Rose, while she hides in.
You are skipping over this is, like, my favorite part of the book.
This is actually a very funny scene. I did laugh.
It was so like, when they're sitting watching the show and he pulls out his phone and he's like, "Fucking Barbara." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Yeah, fucking Barbara, let's fuck her up." And it's funny, and then she finds out it's a raccoon, and then she's like, "Oh, no, she's really cute, we're not gonna fuck Barbara up." And the raccoon, like, attacks Fionn, and
Yeah.
it's funny. And a drug-addicted raccoon named
Yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah.
It's so great.
This is gonna be our most unhinged recap.
It really is, but I
Mhm.
think it's because how much, like, I vehemently love this book and you hate it.
Yeah.
Also, because I did tell you that I have thoughts about the animals, because every book has
Mhm.
an animal.
Yeah.
Like, Sloane gets the cat,
Mhm.
Lark has her dog, and now Rose has a raccoon.
Yeah.
And I think it's so like, their animals encapsulate their personalities. Sloane is a black cat.
Mm. Yeah.
Lark is a golden retriever,
Sure.
or at least
Yeah.
how they, like, kinda portray themselves,
Sure. Yeah.
and Rose is a drug-addicted raccoon.
Yeah. Lark's dog is not a golden retriever, though. It's like a big shepherd dog,
Well, I know, but
which
still, like
is more Lark's personality.
yeah.
Lark is giving, like, loyal to a fault, but, like, also don't fuck with me.
Yes. 100%, and Sloane's is like, "I will come to you when I want you,
Yeah.
stay away from me."
Yeah.
And Rose is literally like, "Whether you want me here or not, I'm going to be here
Yeah.
and cause quite a bit of chaos. I'm gonna really disrupt your life."
Oh my god, that was so
I
insightful.
know. I
Wow.
literally made this note because I was like, "This is so perfect." Like,
Yeah.
Brynn Weaver,
Yeah. I love that.
you know,
Oh my god, you're growing so
told
much.
you.
Wow.
No. Barbara is great.
Yeah.
Rose is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Barbara bites Fionn and he has to go get a rabies shot, which is
Yes.
pretty funny. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, Fionn does something unique on the side. He acts as the sideline doctor for some illegal barn fighting that happens in this like little town. And Rose, once again, shows up uninvited. And she gets caught up in a fight that happens on the sidelines, and Fionn basically sees red and beats the living hell out of one of the guys that was
Yeah.
involved in this fight. So, we've come to the point in the timeline where Rowan and Sloane show up at Fionn's house to fix Sloane after their run-in with Harvey in Texas.
I have been waiting for this. I
Really?
could not wait for some of our side characters to come in.
I know. So while they're here, basically at this point is kind of where we get the inception of Fionn and Rose
Yeah.
as friends with benefits.
Yeah.
Because Rowan can tell
Yeah.
that, first of all, that Fionn is obsessed with Rose, but also that he's like hung up on Claire. And so he basically tells Fionn, maybe she's just an adult who wants to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
okay to
she's
have
not in that
yeah.
did kind of annoy because I guess Fionn is a big dumb idiot walking around bumping into things.
Fionn is absolutely, unquestionably a big
Yes.
dumb idiot walking around bumping into things.
So he's like, "Oh, this girl, if I sleep with her, she's going to fall in love with me and have feelings for me, and I just can't do that right now."
Yeah,
And Rowan is like, "Did she tell you that? Because that's not the vibe I'm getting from her.
yeah,
Maybe she's an adult who can have sex for
yeah,
fun."
yeah. Get over yourself, Fionn.
Literally.
Literally get over yourself. Oh my god, I can't
That
stand
I
him.
will agree with, but it's just a very, like, man thing to do.
After Rowan and Sloane leave, while Fionn is attending to Rose's injury, Rose decides that she's gonna nudge him into getting physical with her
Yeah.
by literally grabbing his hand, running it up her leg, and putting it on her pussy.
Yep.
Yep.
Good for you, Rose.
Yeah. I don't know why, but this really bothered me because she is, like, running his hand I fucking hate this book. I hate these sex scenes. She's, like, running his hand up her leg, and then she, like, sets it on her crotch and is like, "And I put it right where it's wet and warm." And I'm like, "Can you fucking not? Maybe? Can you just shut the fuck up and have sex with him?" I
You
hate
did.
it.
You were just waiting for them.
I
This was a lot of that yearning
yeah.
and not sex.
This is very different. With Sloane and Rowan, it was, like, very much you could tell that they were crazy about
Yeah.
each other, but it was very much like a it was very controlled.
Yeah.
It was very, like, thoughtful.
And there was a friendship there.
Yeah, and with these 2, it's like, "I'm over here, and you're over there, and you stay on your side, I'm gonna stay on my side, and I'm in love with you, but I'm not gonna tell you, and I'm in love with you, and I'm not gonna tell you," and the whole thing is so fucking childish, and I can't fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah. When she realizes that he isn't stopping her, they decide to make a set of rules about their hooking up.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
which
no
I was
cuddling.
not for.
Thank you.
Just do it.
Oh my god.
I don't like these.
And the way that they follow them with such like, they are so like, "No, no, no, there's no cuddling. No, no, no,
I
there's
know.
no
They do that
kissing."
multiple times.
I
Also, all they want to do is kiss each other.
Yeah, and
Why on
cuddle.
earth
Yeah. Just
is this a rule?
honestly, just fucking do it. We have free will. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Alright, well, there's no cuddling, no PDA, no pet names, and no kissing.
Yep.
When they've agreed, Fionn goes down on Rose until she orgasms and then takes her to his room where they agree that they both like the idea of Fionn coming inside of Rose. They have sex in Missionary,
Oh my god.
while they talk about how much they like having sex with each other and discuss Fionn chasing Rose. And then Fionn comes and then they do it again. And just as he's about to participate in aftercare, Rose shimmies off the bed and goes, "All right, net doc," and goes back to her room.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go
Even
ahead.
though neither of them wanted that.
Yeah.
That is something that I would have done too. If you've told
Mhm.
me I'm not staying to cuddle, I'm not fucking staying to cuddle, even if I can tell you want me to stay and cuddle,
Okay, but I just think
even if it bothers
that
me. I'm the type of person, though, I will kill myself to hurt you,
oh my
to prove a
god.
point. I think I'm crazier than you think I am.
Oh, honey,
Maybe
no.
not, but
That's just as crazy as I think you are.
yeah, I'm like, oh, if I had to, like, if Dave cheats on me
Yeah.
and I have to kill I gone girl. I am
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, wow.
I would have to frame him for my murder and then actually die to
Shoot.
ensure he goes to prison.
Yeah, see, and I at the end of this, I would have been like, "I know that we made the rules. I really wanna be super respectful of those rules, but I have to be really honest with you that I don't think that I'm on board with those after this happened." Like,
Oh, no,
I
the
would've been
communication, I don't know her.
okay. Right.
Ooh, I get that. Maybe that's why I like this.
Fun.
I like this book
That
so
sounds
much.
great. Would you tell me if you were mad at me, or would you just
Kill myself and frame you for my murder? It's
oh
hard
my
to say.
god.
Hard to say.
Yikes, what have I gotten myself into?
But now it's, like, out there, so I guess I can't.
Sure, you're gonna have to come up with a different way to torture me.
Yeah.
That's great. Stop. Pegla's, like, whispering ways to do it in her ear. It's so rude. Fionn and Rose are headed to Boston for Rowan's restaurant opening, and while they are on the plane, Fionn fingers Rose while they're in their seats.
And you hated it.
I hated it, it was so lame. It was so fucking
How
lame.
is that lame?
I don't know, it was just, like, the way that they did it was just, like,
There's an
child
audience.
yeah,
I feel like that kind of is a childish thing to do.
yeah.
Fucking on a plane is pretty childish.
I don't know, I guess I just feel like if I'm gonna have sex on a plane, it's gonna be in a private jet.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think the doctor can do that.
Okay, well, fine.
But I did love this part because her when they get to Boston, her bag is lost, and they find it, and it's in Florida,
Yeah, with her tarot deck.
tarot cards in it, yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, well, that makes sense because my grandma always did say she wanted to go to Florida or something," and the deck is her grandma's. I loved that part.
Yeah, because I think she thinks that the magic of the deck is
Yeah.
being controlled by her dead grandmother,
Yes.
basically. So that's like that's the power that's infusing the deck when she does her readings.
Yeah.
And then they get to the hotel and the hotel has fucked up the reservation, which I just have to again say, Fionn is a big dumb idiot walking around bumping into things
Yes.
because I believe 100% that he fucked it up when he was booking it. Because he didn't he didn't verify things. He didn't make sure that it was 2 rooms, all of the things that you're supposed to do before you go on a trip. That's why I am not Darshan, because I do that. That would be me doing that, and
Yeah.
we would have gotten there, we would have had our rooms, and it would have been fine. But in this case, they don't have the rooms, and so Fionn is getting, like, all worked up about it, and he's like, "Well, how much for we need separate beds. We can't have the same beds because of the rules. The
Mhm.
rules, we can't sleep together. How much is it for an executive suite?" And she's like, "It's $1,000 a night." And he's like, "All right, we'll take it." Well, then he and Rose get into a little spat, a little lovers
Yeah, she's
quarrel.
like, "God forbid you can you can't share a room with me. You have to spend an extra $1,000 a night to be away from me.
Yeah. And then he starts again, I fucking hate this guy. He's like, oh, well, I don't want you to fall in love with me because we share a hotel room for one night. And Rose is like, just because you fingered me on a plane doesn't mean I'm going to fall in love with you. And there are two women walking out of the elevator who are like, yeah, girl, kill him.
And you hate that. You hate that.
I hate it so fucking much. And that is where my notes land.
So now you hate this book so much, but you're gonna have to listen to my recap.
I know, but the thing is I actually start to kind of like the book after.
Sure. So now we have my notes and you like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully.
All right.
I'm gonna be so respectful while you recap
Yeah,
it.
I bet. All right. Well, now I need to see where I am. I've just been kind of
Darshaning it.
Yeah. Just going up here.
Peggle, are you enjoying
They
this?
have back at the room. When they get into the room, they just like talk. We're gonna skip that. And then Rose meets up with Sloane and Lark, and Sloane is interrogating Lark about Lachlan. And then this is boring stuff. I don't know why I wrote all this.
Lark, I'm sorry, can I just okay. So while they're in Boston, the girls get coffee.
Okay.
And they have some girl talk.
You're dying over my notes.
I am. Yeah, they're awful. The girls have some small talk. And basically, they separate. So now we've kind of established a relationship. They've got each other's numbers, those types of things. And what ends up happening is that this is the part in the book where we start to intersect more with the other storylines. This is the part where Rowan breaks up with Sloane.
Yes.
And basically, the entire group chat is notified about it, which is very real to life.
100%.
So then that is kind of where that scene basically starts to play out, and they realize that Fionn needs to go and doctor Rowan because he's missing a large chunk of his arm. And then you can go ahead and keep going.
Rose gets her cast off. And since she was just in Boston, she has been debating like maybe sticking around, maybe moving to Boston. Like Rowan said, he'll give her a job at his restaurant. So she's been kind of debating that.
Basically, they decide that Rose is going to go back to the circus. And they start from here on out the long distance friends with benefits, which is so fucking silly to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, just find somebody in Nebraska. I don't know why you're flying across the country to see Rose, but you're not in love with her and you're not ready for a girlfriend and you're not ready for a relationship. You're the worst.
But it does make for a great scene.
Men who have commitment issues are the worst. Just tell her that you love her already. Oh my God.
But it makes for a great scene because Rose is back at the circus and Fionn is there to visit.
Yeah. He shows up and knocks on her door and there's
he can hear as he's getting up. He can hear the treadmill and he's like, oh, she's definitely going too hard. Like, she knows she should not be going that hard.
Yeah. And she opens the door and she's like a sweaty mess. And he realizes that there's a man running and he's like, oh God, I'm early. I came early. I shouldn't have done it.
Yep, we don't have any rules. This is fine.
Yep.
I'm fine.
Yeah. And Rose chases him out and is like, it's not what you think it is. Basically, like, this guy is a dirtbag and I promised him anal if he could beat my record on the treadmill. And Fionn is like, what was the record? And she was like, that's the best part. There is no record. I gave him a bunch of amphetamines. And
Fionn is like, what was your plan? Literally,
again, what was your plan?
Like, you just thought that he would run so fast he'd have a heart attack? And she was like,
yeah. And he doesn't. Of course he doesn't, because it wouldn't be Rose if it worked out correctly. Somehow they finagle this guy to run around
outside.
Yeah. Go ahead and run around the campsite where all of the circus people are set up. And the guy trips and falls over a rock and lands on the top of a picket fence, and the piece of the picket fence goes through his neck and he effectively dies. Ta-da!
The best part is that Rose texts Sloane to be like, how much drug should I give him? And she got enough speed to kill a gorilla.
My favorite part about all of this is that, like, Sloane is the resident expert for all of her little serial killer minions. Oh, so great.
But again, the best part of this scene is when Fionn walks into the trailer and he sees Barbara. They're training her to be in the circus.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so cute. But apparently Rose said that as she was leaving, Barbara was on the roof being like a cat burglar. And she fell off the roof and she hurt her paw.
Oh,
so she couldn't leave her. She had to take her. And now she's going to be in the circus.
Yeah.
Barbara is the star of
this
book. And I will hear nothing about it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I think she's pretty much
Oh
the
my
most
God.
interesting character
He
in the book.
can't stand you. Anyways.
Now we get another fun.
Sexy.
It's actually not any fun. I hated this. This was the reason that
This
I
was not
stopped.
my favorite either.
This is the reason that I stopped reading the book. So basically, Rose decides Fionn has to act as a doctor because that's part of the Hippocratic oath that he takes.
Yeah.
So he has to pretend he's got to go through the motions with the guy's name is Chad.
Yeah.
And so he goes through the kind of the motions and then they declare him dead and like it's an accident and whatever. And the
Yeah.
ambulance takes him away. And Rose is like, well, he cleaned up my mess again. I'm going to reward him with sex, as you should.
With anal.
Anal.
He seemed pretty excited when she said
Yeah.
anal. So
Yeah. He was like, oh, wow, she does that for Chad. So then she's like, all right, you're going to count to 10 and then you're going to come and find me. And he finds her without even the remotest amount of work possible. He is just like,
I know.
it was like, she
This
was
is
like,
your circus and you couldn't find
the
a
thing
better
is like,
spot?
her legs are like this long. So she was like, all right, I'll see you soon. And he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then took 3 strides and caught her in the concession stand.
Yeah.
Where she was prepared with a vibrator that was it already in her ass?
Yes.
Already in her ass.
So this is actually 4 days later.
Oh, yeah.
This is now the weekend, but it blurs together.
It all blurs,
Her
yeah.
plan was to reward him with some anal. She was readying herself because he's a character in a book. So his penis is so big.
So big. Yeah. He is very excited about this. He bends her over the counter, pulls her pants down, and then she's basically standing there with her butt in the air. He removes the vibrator, takes his time, goes over to this thing, washes it thoroughly, she says, with soap and water, which
We've done
I
without this.
appreciate. But
Yeah.
I have to reiterate that she's literally just standing there with her arms on the counter and her ass in the air. There is no anticipation.
Yeah.
It is not sexy. It's again, like we're experimenting. We've never done this before. We're not talking about it because we don't have healthy communication. So we're just winging it. And then she's like, oh, I don't know if I want to put that in my mouth or something. And he's like, well, what about cotton candy? Or she looks over at the cotton candy machine.
And she's like, I have an idea.
And then she walks him through making cotton candy so that they can put the cotton candy on the vibrator before she puts it in her mouth.
And then back in her butt.
And then back in her butt. And then Fionn has sex with her from behind. And apparently it's mind-blowing.
Yeah. They're, crazy about each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then we skip ahead a year.
1 year later.
1 year later.
Okay. Yeah. So Fionn's life has taken a little bit of a turn here without Rose. He's
spiraling.
He is spiraling. He's starting to come into his own. This is where I actually fucking like him.
Of course you do.
I hate a fucking clown pretending to be somebody else. It's the fucking worst. And Fionn was the biggest fucking clown in this book because I don't know who you were kidding. So he's decided that he is going to start fighting and he is the reigning champion right now. And he gets into a fight with another sort of big contender, beats him, but in the process gets his eye bashed in pretty badly. And he goes to the bathroom to clean it up. And who should approach him in the bathroom? None other than Matt, who is a fucking bloodhound on a scent at this point.
Yes.
He will not let it go. His wife and his children have moved to Minnesota.
Yeah.
He is no longer employed. And he is really just very fixated on Rose and catching Rose. And he now has a prosthetic eye to replace the one that he had. And while he's interrogating Fionn is basically standing up for Rose and not giving anything away. Does anything else happen?
Oh, Rose was texting Fionn and he says that he's like at the fight club and she tells him not to break his face because she likes to sit there.
Oh, and you liked that.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
I actually would think that would be cute if you like made him a lunch and then you like sent it in the lunch, you know, when you send him off to the fight, you put a little note.
Sure.
Have a good fight. There's a little note in there.
They're not together.
But they're not together. So Fionn decides, I don't know at what point in time Rose decides that she's going to basically move to Boston.
Well, I think she started talking about it with Sloan and Lark.
Yeah.
She's gotten to be so close with them that when she's out there visiting, Sloan's like, well, Rowan's got a place for you. It's when they're opening the new.
Lachlan has a place. She's staying at Lachlan's place because Lachlan moved in with Lark.
Yeah. But Rowan is going to give her a job.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, he's going to give her a job as a hostess. And it's not the same circus, it's a different circus. It's like a fright circus.
Yes, because it's Halloween.
Halloween,
Yeah.
yes. And so basically she's staying in Boston, and Fionn, on one of his trips to come out for a booty call, because he doesn't have private jet money, but apparently he can fly out to Boston for a day so he can get laid. Or
He's
in
already deciding. He is already on the drive there. He's like, "I think I'm gonna move to Boston
Yeah.
and meet Rose, and I'm gonna talk to her tonight." He
Yeah.
tells her, like, "I'm on my way. Can I pick you up? I just have some things I wanna talk about."
Yeah. And while at her haunt, she kind of finishes up the night. She texts Fionn and is like, "Hey, I'm just finishing up." And like, "Or do you still wanna pick me up?" And he was like, "Yeah, I actually thought I was, maybe gonna just kinda have a look around anyway, so I'm actually already here, I'm just parking." And she's like, "Perfect, sounds good." Well, as soon as she gets off the phone, who should show up in her tent
Of course.
but Matt Cromwell. So he has tracked her somehow to Boston because he used to be a cop.
Yes.
So I think somehow he can, like, get
He has
specific
friends because, of
details.
course, he does.
Of course he does. Yeah,
Disgusting.
it's the worst.
Yeah.
Are so corrupt.
Yes.
And not only does he know where she is, but he discloses to
Yeah.
Fionn that he knows all of the men that have come to untimely deaths in all of the cities that the circus has been. He's correlated all the crimes for her. He knows and he wants to get revenge.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to arrest her. He doesn't want her to go to
No.
jail. No, he wants his own personal kind of revenge because
Because
he's a piece of
Rose
shit.
got his wife to leave him,
Mhm.
and so now he needs to kill her because
That
he
makes
he needs to control women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. So they have a little bit of a fight in the tent.
Cranwell has a knife.
Cranwell has a knife, and Rose flees the tent, running through the circus. Cranwell is also dressed as a clown. So as they're running through this, because he is a fucking clown, as they're
Mhm.
running through the circus, everybody just thinks that it's part of the act and part of the show. She ends up at the haunted house, which I have to go to. Why would you go to the haunted house, babes?
I know.
What the fuck are we doing? What's the plan?
She did not have a plan.
She gets inside of the haunted house. While they were in the tent, she broke her chair over his back, so all she has is the seat of the chair, and she comes up behind him and whacks him in the back of his head, and his prosthetic eye pops out.
Which calls back to the very first
does.
sentence of the book.
Yeah, it does. And I really I have to go back to, like, this is the part of the book where I started to enjoy things.
Yeah.
So I do wanna make that disclosure here,
Well,
but
yeah, because she yells at him to put it back in. His eye pops out. It's so funny.
yeah, he's, like, trying to grab for her ankle with, like, no
Yes.
eye in one socket,
Which is,
and she's
I
like,
don't know if you've seen a man
Yeah.
with no eye. It's horrifying.
"Oh, I'm sure." Yeah.
It is horrible.
So, yeah, so he's kind of, like, clawing at her leg. She breaks free of him and basically comes around a corner
He
and
bumps into Fionn.
bumps into
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, hey there, you little
Little rascal.
little rascal. What you doing in here?" You
Yeah.
know? And she's like, "Oh, nothing, like, go away, go away, go
Yeah,
away."
5 more minutes. I'm still working. 5 more
Yeah.
minutes.
And he's like, "Oh, okay, something's" like,
Yeah.
he's at this point in time, he's kind of starting to put together that
Yeah.
that nobody is safe from Rose.
Yes.
So he realizes that Matt Cromwell is
Yep.
chasing her, and they get into a scuffle, and he uses a knife to disembowel
Yes.
Matt.
Gruesome.
And then in one of the rooms, they have one of the displays is people hanging from meat hooks, and Fionn hangs Matt from one of the meat hooks.
Yeah.
And then he and Rose kiss and have sex on the bed in the room with Matt Cromwell's
I
body
know.
hanging from the meat hook.
I know. I don't
Missionary.
Yeah, I don't love
Again.
that. But now I feel like we could have been on a bit of a time crunch here. The fair is still open. They closed down this house, but the fair is still open.
And they break their first cardinal rule of kissing. They kiss
Yep.
here as
Yep.
well. And I would love to give you more description of the scene, but that's it. They get under the blankets and they have sex. And it's, once again, according to them, mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, yes.
So we have that going for us. They finish up, and Fionn is like, "Rose, you have to let me help you. Like, you have to let me
Yeah.
clean this up.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. I can't handle you being involved in this and whatever." This is such an interesting decision.
I have a note as well about this. It was stupid. A stupid
Fionn
decision.
calls Leander
Lachlan's boss. He doesn't call his brother the cleaner. He calls Leander.
Yeah.
Who we didn't talk about it, but Leander is the one who brought the boys to America.
We did talk about that in the past episodes, but
this,
not in this one.
Yeah, we didn't. In this one, though, we don't talk about the fact that when Fionn killed his dad, he actually called Leander. So he knows the cost of doing business with Leander.
Yeah, we learn here that not only did Fionn call Leander after they murdered his dad, Fionn was the one who originally called the thugs.
Yeah, he set his dad up
about his dad's debt and caused his dad to get angry and spiral. He thought that the thugs would take care of his dad.
Yeah.
They did not. That is what catapulted the boys to have to take care of their dad. And this is where we find out as well that Fionn, all of this mysterious brooding, is being caused by the fact that Fionn thinks that he was the one who killed his father because he stabbed his father in the back, in the spine, immediately before Lachlan wrapped the belt around his neck to choke him. And Leander knows all of those details and absolutely uses them as leverage against Fionn to convince him that he's going to clean this job up for him. It's not going to cost him any money, but that Fionn will need to go to Croatia for 7 months to do a job of unknown work and with absolutely zero contact with anybody, including his brothers and including Rose. And Fionn agrees.
Yep. Because
he's a big, dumb
This was dumb. He has to be a martyr. He has to be saving somebody. I didn't like this either.
Yeah. I really think that I enjoyed this version of him much more than I enjoyed the first version of him. I just think it's interesting, like, this is such a good example of when you pretend for too long to be somebody else, the way that you literally spiral into oblivion when you start to embrace yourself, because that's what's happening here.
Right.
Is he is literally spiraling and just with absolutely no foothold. I mean, he is a mess.
So then he gets back to Lachlan's and breaks up with Rose.
Basically, Rose is devastated. She's sobbing. They go to bed that night. She wakes up the next morning. She tries to leave the house. This is where she and Lark have coffee. And the scene that we got between her and Lark in Leather and Lark, that is the scene. Lark gets kidnapped, as we know. Fionn had gone to pick up Rose from the coffee date with Lark because she had left her tarot deck behind, which is giving like grandma was trying to set them up vibes. And he gets the phone call. We all know what happens. They go to Lark with Lachlan. They find the dog. Fionn takes the dog to the vet, meets up at the industrial bakery where they discover that Rose has been stabbed. She's in the hospital. In the midst of all of this, Leander is like, you have a contract with me. I don't care what's going on. At 9 p.m., you're getting on a fucking plane and you're coming to Croatia, which he does. He leaves a letter for Rose at that time. And then he goes radio silent for 7 months, basically. And Lark somehow knew that Leander was involved in. And she got the details out of him with the guarantee that she wasn't going to tell Lachlan.
Which she doesn't.
But she tells Sloane, and Sloane at the hospital gives Fionn an address for him to send mail to so that he can get communication to Rose through Sloane.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I honestly think this whole ending, it didn't need to happen.
No.
He didn't need to leave. This whole book was drama, and we didn't need this.
Yeah. See, and I would have been happy if we had skipped some of the early drama and just had this.
Interesting.
Because I do actually like this next part. So the whole purpose of them being in the car together was that Fionn was returning her tarot deck, and after her accident, he didn't get the opportunity to return it to her. So he finishes up his 7-month contract, moves back home. In the midst of all of this, Rose has been discharged from the hospital. She's gone back to working for the circus. She is performing regularly again. She's feeling very disconnected from her life at this point. And all of a sudden starts receiving mail, one a week, with a tarot card and a love letter from Fionn.
Yeah, I did like this.
I love this. I adored this so much. Each week she gets a new letter, she gets a new card. It takes about 2 months for her to get all of the cards. And her last letter from him basically is, I'm, I know where you are. I'm going to be about a half an hour away at a little resort at a cabin. Come and meet me at the lookout. I'm going to be there every day waiting for you. So I'm fucking so obsessed.
Yeah, I did like that too.
And I'm obsessed with this from here on out because she shows up and then they basically just spend like a couple of weeks just together, just healing
Yep.
and talking and like doing all of the things that they should have done from the beginning.
Sure.
And I love that shit. I fucking love I eat that shit up.
Yeah.
So I really loved that. And the last bit of this book here is basically them just being totally in love, and then we get 2 epilogues.
Yes, we do. And I'm so curious about what you think of them.
So, well,
Not the first one. I don't care about what you think of the first one.
you know what I think about the
I
first
know.
one.
It was and it was from Rowan's perspective, which I thought was interesting. They all meet up at a cabin and Fionn proposes.
Yeah, except that the whole opening to this is that Rowan has dressed like a monster from one of Sloane's monster porn books
Yeah.
and is going to chase her through the woods, and they end up at, like, a barn party, and
He's stuck.
yeah, because they're doing another challenge, and he can't get out and go into the barn to get the murderer because he's dressed like a monster, full scale and everything. And then they, like, get back to the cabin where Lachlan and Lark are already waiting, and Lachlan is like, "What is on you? Like, why is it not coming off?" And it turns out that it's, like, he mixed it with, like, regular paint, and so it's
Yeah.
permanent,
Oh
and
my God.
like,
So funny.
the whole time, like, Sloane is like, she knows how badly he's like, "All I wanted to do is chase my wife through the woods and fuck her." Like, it's like,
Yes.
I lived for
Yes.
that fucking epilogue.
And it was nice. They're all back together.
Yeah,
I
it
loved
was
it.
so great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lachlan cries, which I love that, and
Lachlan's and Rose's like little bond.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, because he feels so much guilt about letting her get hurt
Yeah.
because Fionn specifically told him,
Take care
"Take
of
care of."
Yeah.
And then she almost died.
Yeah. It
So
was a nice serious one. Then we have another epilogue.
epilogue, what was the second epilogue?
The second epilogue is from the perspective of an unknown woman who's watching them.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
You don't like this? I was
I
so excited about this.
so perspective of an unknown woman, she's just watching them and she's thinking about how much she envies Sloane and she wants to be just like Sloane.
Mhm,
And then she says her name is Autumn Bauer and Harvey killed her love, Adam.
mhm,
So now she is still wearing the shirt that
mhm.
Sloane gave her.
Yeah.
Sets up for another for another trilogy or
Mhm.
whatnot, which is great, but this girl was so fucking annoying in that book.
Yeah, this is the one that was screaming.
Yes.
Mhm.
And now
Yeah.
she's evolved so much that she's
Mhm.
going to be a killer herself too.
I loved it because I was not expecting it.
I was not either.
Yeah, and I think that was my favorite part about it. I
Yeah.
love a little surprise.
So I can't
So,
wait. I'll read them all. Brynn
yeah.
Weaver has another trilogy coming out or another book at least coming out in like
Fair,
August.
fair.
I tagged you in it and I can't wait for that. We'll have
Oh, yes. Yes, that looks so good.
and then we get the bonus chapter,
Mhm.
which I didn't even write down, but
Good.
they have the sex swing.
Mm.
'Cause remember
Rose finishes
Rose is
the
making her sex swing,
yeah.
and they use the sex swing.
Yeah, and it's literally like a two-page
Yeah,
scene, so
yeah,
yeah.
it's not that exciting. I never recap the sex scenes anyways because then I blush,
Yeah.
but that's the end.
Yeah, so that
I loved
finishes it
this
up.
book, so now
Yeah.
let's rate it.
Oh my god. Yeah, we've talked a little bit about Brynn in the past. I will say that even though I didn't particularly like these characters, I still stan Brynn Weaver. I think
She's an
she's
incredible
still
storyteller.
yeah, she really is. I mean, I still will give her all of the props in the world. You can find more information about her online if you want to learn about her other series or learn about her in any way.
She's very active on social media. She posts TikTok, she reposts a lot. Check
Yeah.
her out. She is so
Yeah.
great.
We also wanna, of course, thank Peggle
Yeah, we're
because
back here today.
yeah,
We're at the Peggle. We're
yeah.
recording at Peggle's.
Yeah, we got kicked out of our other spot that we normally
We
record
sure
at,
did.
and so we had to find somewhere else, and Peggle so graciously let us set up.
Yeah,
We have to thank her for just all of her hard
just
work
existing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just jump into ratings.
Okay. Spice level.
I'm gonna give this a solid 1.
And we should say that we will be, like, very, very soon, and it'll be on our website, it'll be on our social media. We're redefining they'll stay the same categories for the most part, but we're gonna redefine them because we've noticed, as have probably all of you, we overlap.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
So spice
spice level,
I
I would give it and I usually have this done early, so now I have to roast it. I think I'd give it a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'd give it a 3.
I think that in our sort of rebranding of it, we talked a lot about, like, how graphic,
Mhm.
and I don't feel like this particular book was as graphic. The anal
But
in
a 1? I
Larkin
would
leather,
say Verity is a 1.
they have, what, 3 sex scenes, 2 of them are missionary, 1 is under the covers,
1
and 1, instead of talking about the sex scene, they talk about washing off the vibrator and making cotton candy, so I'm gonna stick with my 1.
oh my god, I can't. I'm
Okay.
gonna give it a 3 confidently.
Okay.
So frequency, I feel like I know where you're going.
Frequency, I would give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 3. Pros,
I would give it a 5.
always a 5. Storyline,
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5 just because there were things that
Mhm.
I think like I said, I think we could have done without some things.
Mhm.
There were some choices that I didn't love.
I just don't I think that for me what it is I don't enjoy in any capacity thinking about getting caught.
Yeah.
I just don't
Ooh, and
enjoy that.
that is
Yeah.
something for me.
That is for
Yeah,
sure, and it's just not for me, and
yeah,
I really, really liked that about the first 2 books is that there was n we never once talked about police, about FBI. They don't even consider it,
yeah.
and, I mean, the cleaning up of the crime scene is like, "Rowan, fucking throw up in the bowl, you fucking idiot." Like, they're
You
so
feckin' idiot.
yeah, it's so unserious,
Yeah.
and I just don't I think that I've been able this thank you so much for doing this podcast with me because I can narrow that down.
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
yeah,
So,
overall.
overall, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, I loved this book.
Mhm.
If you like the books that I've liked, I think you'll really like this book.
Yeah.
So,
Alright, well, thanks for joining us. We are sorry that it took us so long.
we're back.
We're back.
We're not sure how often, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out and we'll let you know.
Mm,
We're getting there.
we're getting there.
Yeah.
We, are probably gonna take some seasonal breaks, I
Yeah.
think, moving forward so that I have time to,
Be a mother or whatever.
yeah, do things that I have to do. So, alright, well, thanks for joining us, and join us next time. I'm Amanda,
I'm Nicole.
and we are Plot Tarts. We'll see you next time.
Bye.